just like that. I mean, you don't know what the boy looked like, you don't know.
Have you ever wondered why Magnum P.I.'s helicopter became more famous than most movie aircraft? That sleek Hughes 500 wasn't one helicopter, but four, and the insurance company banned Tom Selleck from ever flying in it, despite appearing in every episode. Today we're counting down 20 weird facts about Magnum P.I.'s Hughes 500 helicopter that will completely change how you see this legendary 80s icon. From a rotor system that required rebuilding every 6 weeks to footage that couldn't be filmed during turtle nesting season, these revelations might just blow your mind. So, buckle up, hit that like button if you love the classic television and aviation history, and let's fly into the secrets behind TC's Island Hoppers. Number 20. The production used. 4 different Hughes 500 helicopters. The iconic Hughes 500 seen throughout Magnum P.I.'s 8-season run wasn't a single aircraft. Universal Television used 4 separate helicopters, each serving specific production purposes during the series' 1980 to 1988 broadcast. The primary Hero helicopter, registered November 7318 Hotel, was the aircraft featured in close-up shots and scenes requiring actors visible in the cockpit. This helicopter maintained showroom condition throughout production, receiving constant detailing and maintenance. The second helicopter served as the primary flying aircraft for aerial sequences. This workhorse logged over 1,200 flight hours during the series, far exceeding normal operational schedules. The third helicopter was the Stunt aircraft, modified with reinforced structure for aggressive maneuvers that the Hero helicopter couldn't safely perform. The fourth was a stripped-down camera platform, configured specifically for filming aerial sequences with mounted camera equipment. Coordinating 4 helicopters created massive logistical challenges. The production maintained detailed flight logs tracking which aircraft flew, which sequences to ensure visual continuity. Each helicopter required Federal Aviation Administration certification, insurance coverage, and dedicated maintenance crews. The combined operating cost of 4 helicopters exceeded $300,000 annually, making the Hughes 500 one of the series' most expensive recurring elements. This multi-helicopter approach ensured filming could continue even when one aircraft required maintenance or repairs, preventing costly production delays. Number 19. Tom Selleck was contractually forbidden from flying in the helicopter.
Just like that. I mean, you don't know what the boy looked like, you don't know.
Tom Selleck never actually flew in the Hughes 500 during any episode of Magnum P.I., despite appearing in hundreds of scenes. His contract with Universal Television explicitly prohibited him from being a passenger in the helicopter during flight. The insurance company underwriting the production declared Selleck too valuable to risk in helicopter operations. If he were injured or killed in a helicopter accident, the series would immediately end, causing catastrophic financial losses. For every shot showing Magnum riding in TC's helicopter, the production used creative camera tricks and editing. Many scenes were filmed with Selleck in a grounded helicopter, with the rotor turning, but the aircraft remaining stationary. The downdraft and noise created the illusion of flight. Other scenes used blue screen technology, filming Selleck in a helicopter mock-up on a soundstage with Hawaiian backgrounds added in post-production. Wide shots showing the helicopter in flight, with passengers visible, used stand-ins and stunt doubles. The production employed several Selleck lookalikes who could pass for the star when facial features weren't clearly visible. Roger E. Mosley, who played TC, faced the same flying prohibition despite his character being the pilot. Neither lead actor ever actually flew in the series' signature aircraft. This restriction occasionally created awkward moments when aviation consultants noticed the actors' complete unfamiliarity with helicopter operations. Selleck had to be coached extensively on how to realistically pretend to experience flight without actually experiencing it. Number 18. The red and white paint scheme was changed after military complaints. The Hughes 500's distinctive red and white paint scheme wasn't the original design. The helicopter initially featured red, white, and blue stripes meant to evoke American patriotism and Hawaiian tourism simultaneously. However, The original paint scheme drew complaints from unexpected sources. Military veterans and active duty personnel stationed in Hawaii objected that the color pattern too closely resembled military medical evacuation helicopters. The similarity could create dangerous confusion during actual emergencies. If people saw the Magnum helicopter and assumed it was a medical evacuation aircraft, real emergencies could be delayed or mishandled. The Coast Guard also expressed concerns that the paint scheme might confuse distressed boaters looking for rescue helicopters. Universal Television took these complaints seriously. Between seasons 1 and 2, the helicopters were repainted with the iconic red and white scheme that became synonymous with island hoppers. The new design deliberately avoided any patterns used by emergency services, military, or Coast Guard aircraft operating in Hawaiian airspace. The repaint wasn't simple cosmetic work. Helicopter paint must be lightweight to avoid affecting flight characteristics. The production used specialized aviation paint that cost approximately $12,000 per helicopter. Repainting 4 helicopters totaled nearly $50,000, a significant unplanned expense. The modified paint scheme appeared starting in Season 2, Episode 1. Sharp-eyed viewers can spot the different colors in late Season 1 episodes versus the rest of the series. Number 17. The helicopter's registration number was carefully chosen. The Hughes 500's tail number, November 7318, hotel wasn't randomly assigned. Universal Television specifically requested this registration from the Federal Aviation Administration for symbolic reasons. The numbers 7318 represented July 31st, 1980, the date Magnum P.I received final series approval from CBS. The production wanted the helicopter to carry a permanent reminder of the show's greenlight date. However, obtaining a specific tail number wasn't simple. The FAA doesn't allow arbitrary registration numbers. Aircraft must be registered with available numbers following specific patterns. Universal had to purchase an existing aircraft with a registration number close to their desired combination, then request a number change through official channels. This bureaucratic process took 4 months and cost approximately $8,000 in fees and legal expenses. The November prefix indicated United States registration. The numbers had to be painted in specific size and location according to FAA regulations. The letters had to maintain minimum height requirements for visibility. The production's paint crew had to redo the registration numbers 3 times before FAA inspectors approved them as regulation compliant. Interestingly, the tail number became so associated with Magnum P.I that after the series ended, subsequent owners of the Hero helicopter maintained the November 7318 hotel registration. The number became part of the aircraft's identity, too historically significant to change despite ownership transfers. Number 16, the rotor blades required replacement. Every 6 weeks, the Hughes 500's main rotor blades wore out at an alarming rate during Magnum P.I production, requiring replacement approximately every 6 weeks. Normal helicopter operations might require rotor blade replacement every 12 to 18 months. The production's aggressive filming schedule destroyed blades in a fraction of that time. The problem was the sheer number of flight hours. Each episode required extensive aerial footage. The helicopter flew multiple hours daily, 6 days per week during active production. A typical season filmed 22 episodes over 9 months, meaning the helicopter logged flight time equivalent to several years of normal operations compressed into months. Rotor blades endure tremendous stress. They flex, twist, and experience extreme forces during flight. The constant flexing causes metal fatigue and microscopic cracks that eventually compromise structural integrity. The production couldn't risk blade failure during filming, so they implemented extremely conservative replacement schedules. Each rotor blade set cost approximately $18,000. Replacing blades every 6 weeks meant the production spent over $150,000 annually just on rotor blades across 4 helicopters. The worn blades couldn't simply be discarded. FAA regulations require documenting blade service history and proper disposal of aviation components. The production maintained warehouses of used rotor blades, eventually selling them to helicopter repair facilities that could inspect and potentially recertify them for less demanding applications. The constant blade replacement became one of the series' largest ongoing expenses. Number 15. Larry Manetti never learned to fly. Despite playing a pilot, Larry Manetti, who played Rick, appeared in numerous helicopter scenes throughout the series, but never learned to fly or even obtained ground instruction. This contrasted sharply with Roger E. Mosley's approach to playing TC, the helicopter pilot. Mosley underwent extensive flight training to authentically portray a professional pilot, even though he'd never actually fly the helicopter on camera. Manetti took the opposite approach. He figured Rick was a bar owner who occasionally rode in helicopters, not a pilot, so he didn't need aviation knowledge. This created problems during filming. Directors wanted Rick to occasionally assist with helicopter operations or make knowledgeable comments about flying. Manetti couldn't convincingly discuss helicopter operations because he knew nothing about them. The scripts had to be rewritten numerous times to remove references to Rick having aviation knowledge. Aviation technical advisors on set would cringe when Manetti handled helicopter equipment. He'd touch controls randomly, not understanding their function. He'd sit in wrong positions or reach for non-existent equipment. Everything required multiple takes and constant correction. Mosley, with his pilot training, would quietly coach Manetti between takes, teaching him basic terminology and proper positioning. But Manetti remained fundamentally uncomfortable around helicopters throughout the series' 8 seasons. In interviews years later, Manetti admitted he was slightly afraid of helicopters and avoided them whenever possible, even for personal travel. His discomfort occasionally shows on camera during helicopter scenes. Number 14. The helicopter couldn't fly. During turtle nesting season, Hawaiian environmental regulations created unexpected filming restrictions for Magnum P.I.'s helicopter sequences. The Hughes 500 couldn't fly over certain beaches during green sea turtle nesting season, typically May through September. Sea turtles are extremely sensitive to noise and vibration. Helicopter noise during nesting season could disturb females laying eggs or cause hatchlings to become disoriented when emerging from nests. The Hawaiian Department of Land and Natural Resources enforced strict no-fly zones over designated turtle nesting beaches during these months. Violations carried severe penalties, including fines up to $50,000 and potential criminal charges. The production had to carefully plan helicopter filming around these restrictions. Beach scenes requiring aerial shots had to be filmed between October and April, when turtle activity was minimal. This scheduling constraint forced the production to film out of sequence, shooting helicopter-dependent beach scenes months before they'd actually air. The restriction also limited filming locations. Some of Hawaii's most beautiful beaches were completely off-limits during half the year. The production had to find alternative locations that didn't have protected turtle populations. Environmental monitors were hired to observe helicopter operations near sensitive areas. These monitors had authority to halt filming immediately if they observed any wildlife disturbance. The production took these restrictions seriously after one incident, where a helicopter rotor wash disturbed nesting birds, resulting in a $25,000 fine and 3 days of halted production. Number 13. The helicopter's interior was completely fake. Every interior helicopter shot showing actors in the cockpit was filmed in a complete mock-up built on a soundstage. The real Hughes 500's interior was never used for close-up filming. The actual helicopter cabin was cramped, poorly lit, and acoustically terrible for recording dialogue. The engine and rotor noise made recording clean audio impossible. The vibration made stable camera work nearly impossible. The limited space couldn't accommodate cameras, lighting equipment, and crew. Production designer J. Michael Riva supervised construction of a full-scale Hughes 500 interior mock-up. The mock-up was built on a gimbal platform that could tilt, rock, and shake to simulate flight motion. The motion system was synchronized with projected backgrounds showing actual aerial footage of Hawaii. The mock-up interior was 20% larger than the real helicopter, providing room for cameras and equipment. Walls could be removed for different camera angles. The ceiling opened for overhead shots. Lighting could be controlled precisely. Most importantly, the mock-up was quiet. Dialogue could be recorded cleanly without helicopter noise interference. Actors appreciated the mock-up, because it didn't vibrate or create genuine flight sensations that could cause motion sickness. The mock-up cost approximately $120,000 to build, but saved far more in filming efficiency. Almost every helicopter interior scene throughout 8 seasons was filmed in this soundstage mock-up, not the actual aircraft. Number 12. The Hero helicopter was stolen and recovered 3 times. The primary Hughes 500 November 7318 Hotel was stolen 3 separate times during the series' production. Each theft created production crises and required police involvement. The first theft occurred in Season 2. The helicopter was stolen from a Honolulu airport hangar overnight. Thieves apparently intended to strip it for parts, but abandoned it when they realized how recognizable the distinctive paint scheme made it. Police recovered the helicopter undamaged 2 days later in a remote area. The second theft happened during Season 4. This time, someone actually flew the helicopter away from its storage location. The thief was apparently a qualified pilot who'd been monitoring the production. He flew approximately 80 miles before running low on fuel and landing on a private airstrip. Police arrested him, attempting to refuel. The theft grounded production for 5 days, while the helicopter underwent complete inspection to ensure no damage occurred. The third theft occurred in Season 6. The helicopter was stolen from a filming location, driven away on a flatbed truck. This theft appeared professionally planned, suggesting organized crime involvement. The FBI joined the investigation due to the interstate nature of helicopter theft. The aircraft was recovered 3 weeks later in California, apparently destined for illegal export. After the third theft, Universal implemented extraordinary security measures including GPS tracking, armed guards, and storage in secured facilities with controlled access. The security costs added approximately $40,000 annually to the helicopter operating budget. Number 11. Roger Ian Mosley became a licensed helicopter pilot. Because of the show, Roger E. Mosley took his role as TC so seriously that he obtained an actual helicopter pilot's license during the series' run. Mosley started the series with 0 aviation experience, but was frustrated by his inability to authentically portray a professional pilot. During Season 1, Mosley approached Universal about paying for flight training. The studio refused, citing insurance concerns and questioning the value. Mosley paid for training himself, spending approximately $25,000 over 18 months. He attended ground school, logged required flight hours, and passed both written and practical examinations. By Season 3, Mosley was a certified helicopter pilot, though insurance restrictions still prevented him from flying the production helicopters. Mosley's pilot training transformed his performance. He understood helicopter operations intimately and could perform pre-flight checks, discuss technical issues convincingly, and handle controls with genuine expertise. Aviation consultants noted the dramatic improvement in Mosley's authenticity. Scripts began incorporating more technical dialogue because Mosley could deliver it convincingly. Interestingly, Mosley's pilot license created unexpected benefits. During location scouting, he could evaluate potential filming locations from a pilot's perspective, identifying which aerial shots were feasible and which were dangerous. He became an unofficial aviation consultant for the production, advising on script accuracy and safety considerations. Mosley continued flying helicopters after the series ended, maintaining his license and logging recreational flight hours. The role of TC gave him a genuine lifelong passion for aviation. Number 10. The helicopter's fuel costs exceeded actor salaries. The Hughes 500 helicopters consumed fuel at rates that made their operating costs exceed several cast members' salaries. Each helicopter burned approximately 25 gallons of aviation fuel per hour of flight time. Aviation fuels in Hawaii during the 1980s cost approximately $3 per gallon, significantly more expensive than mainland prices due to shipping costs. A typical filming day required 4 to 6 hours of helicopter flight time. That's 100 to 150 gallons daily, costing $450 per day in fuel alone. Over a 22-episode season, filming 6 months, fuel costs for helicopter operations exceeded $50,000 annually. This didn't include the other helicopters in the fleet. All 4 helicopters combined consumed over $200,000 in fuel across a single season. To put this in perspective, several supporting cast members earned less than $50,000 per season during early years. The helicopter literally cost more to fuel than some actors cost to employ. The production tried numerous cost-saving measures. They scheduled helicopter scenes to minimize flight time. They used the camera platform helicopter, which was lighter and more fuel-efficient whenever possible. They even experimented with alternative fuels, but found performance suffered unacceptably. The fuel costs were unavoidable operating expenses that the production simply had to absorb. Universal Television's accountants joked that the Hughes 500 drank more expensive fuel than the cast drank expensive alcohol at craft services. Number 9. The helicopter's sound effects were entirely replaced in post-production. Every helicopter sound heard in Magnum P.I was fake. The actual Hughes 500 audio was completely replaced during post-production editing. The real helicopter's sound was too inconsistent for a television broadcast. Engine noise varied depending on throttle position, rotor speed changed with maneuvers, and wind noise fluctuated unpredictably. Clean dialogue recording was impossible with authentic helicopter sounds. Sound designer Michael Keller recorded a single Hughes 500 at various power settings in a controlled environment. These recordings became the template for every helicopter sound throughout the series. Keller created a library of helicopter audio: startup sounds, idle, cruise, acceleration, deceleration, and shutdown. During post-production, editors would select appropriate sounds and mix them with dialogue recorded separately. The result was helicopter audio that sounded consistent and professional, but bore little resemblance to what was actually recorded during filming. Interestingly, the replacement sounds came from a different Hughes 500 than any used in production. Keller recorded a heavily modified Hughes with a quieter engine, specifically for clean audio capture. Real pilots watching the show frequently commented that the helicopter sounded wrong, noticing the audio didn't match the visual rotor speed or flight characteristics. Number 8. The FAA required special waivers for low-level filming. Waiver application form Federal Aviation. Administration regulations prohibited helicopters from flying below 500 feet over populated areas or closer than 500 feet to any structure. Magnum P.I.'s signature low-altitude beach and city shots violated these regulations constantly. The production required special FAA filming waivers for nearly every helicopter sequence. Obtaining waivers was bureaucratically complex. Each waiver application required detailed flight plans, safety protocols, insurance documentation, and pilot credentials. The FAA reviewed each application individually, approving or denying based on risk assessment. Some waivers took months to obtain. Universal Television employed a full-time FAA liaison whose sole job was managing the waiver application process. This position costs approximately $60,000 annually in salary. The waivers came with strict conditions. Filming could only occur during specified hours, required safety observers on the ground, and mandated immediate halt if conditions became unsafe. Violating waiver conditions meant potential certificate suspension for pilots and massive fines for the production. The production violated waiver conditions at least 7 times throughout the series' run, resulting in fines totaling over $80,000. Despite the bureaucratic hassle and costs, the waivers were essential for achieving Magnum's distinctive aerial cinematography. Number 7. The helicopter couldn't perform actual stunt maneuvers. The Hughes 500 scene performing dramatic maneuvers in the show couldn't actually perform most of those stunts safely. The helicopter's design limited aggressive maneuvering. Sharp banks, rapid altitude changes, and aerobatic movements exceeded the aircraft's structural limits. Insurance companies prohibited genuine stunt flying with the production helicopters. The dramatic aerial sequences were achieved through creative camera work and editing. Multiple safe, gentle maneuvers were filmed separately, then edited together to appear as one aggressive sequence. Camera angles and speed manipulation made moderate maneuvers look extreme. For genuinely dangerous shots, the production hired professional stunt helicopter pilots flying different aircraft. These stunt helicopters were stripped down, reinforced versions without the paint scheme or cosmetic modifications. Wide shots showing aggressive flying used stunt helicopters. Close shots showing the distinctive island hoppers paint used the production helicopters flying conservatively. Editors seamlessly integrated the two sources. The most dramatic aerial sequence in the series finale required 14 separate filmed elements edited into one continuous shot. No single helicopter ever performed the complete maneuver as it appeared on screen. This deception worked perfectly. Viewers believed they were watching one helicopter performing incredible stunts when they were actually seeing careful editing. Number 6. The maintenance crew worked 24-hour shifts. The production's helicopter maintenance crew operated around the clock throughout filming seasons. The aggressive flight schedule required constant mechanical attention that normal business hours couldn't accommodate. The crew consisted of 9 certified aviation mechanics working rotating 8-hour shifts. At least 3 mechanics were always on duty, ready to address any mechanical issues immediately. The helicopters couldn't afford downtime. If a helicopter developed problems during filming, production would halt at enormous cost. Mechanics had to diagnose and repair issues instantly to keep cameras rolling. The maintenance facility operated at Honolulu International Airport in a dedicated hangar. The facility contained complete spare parts inventory, specialized tools, and diagnostic equipment. Stocking adequate parts cost approximately $150,000 initially. The mechanics performed preventive maintenance between every flight. Post-flight inspections checked critical systems for wear or damage. Any questionable component was replaced immediately rather than risk failure during filming. This paranoid maintenance philosophy prevented mechanical failures but consumed parts at extraordinary rates. The maintenance crew's round-the-clock operation cost approximately $400,000 annually in salaries alone. However, the investment prevented a single day of lost production due to mechanical failure throughout 8 seasons. Number 5. The Hero helicopter sold for 20 times its original value. After Magnum P.I ended in 1988, Universal Television sold the Hero Hughes 500 at auction. The helicopter had cost approximately $120,000 new in 1980. 8 years later, it sold for $2.4 million, 20 times its original purchase price. The astronomical price reflected the helicopter's fame rather than its mechanical condition. By series end, the Hero helicopter was nearly worn out from excessive flight hours and constant filming demands. Any other helicopter with similar hours would be worth significantly less than purchase price. But this wasn't any helicopter. It was TC's Island Hoppers, one of television's most recognizable aircraft. The buyer was a private collector who specialized in famous film and television vehicles. He reportedly planned to restore the helicopter to pristine condition and display it in a private museum. However, the restoration never happened. The helicopter sat in storage for nearly 15 years before being sold again in 2003 for $3.1 million. The second buyer did restore it, spending approximately $400,000 returning it to flying condition. The restored helicopter now appears occasionally at air shows and television anniversary events. Its current estimated value exceeds $5 million, making it one of the most valuable television props ever sold. Number 4. Military bases created massive filming restrictions. Airspace map. Hawaii's numerous military installations created constant filming challenges for Magnum P.I.'s helicopter sequences. Pearl Harbor, Hickam Air Force Base, Marine Corps Base Hawaii, and other facilities occupied huge portions of Hawaiian airspace. Flying near military installations required special permissions that were frequently denied. The military considered helicopter filming near bases a potential security risk. Low-flying civilian helicopters could photograph sensitive facilities or disrupt military operations. The production had to submit detailed flight plans to multiple military commands for approval. Each service branch reviewed requests independently. Navy, Air Force, Army, and Marines all had separate approval processes. Getting all necessary approvals sometimes took months. Many desired filming locations were simply impossible due to military restrictions. Some of Hawaii's most beautiful coastal areas were adjacent to military bases and therefore off-limits. The production had to find alternative locations that didn't trigger military security concerns. Occasionally, the military granted permissions but required modifications. One approval required digitally removing a visible military installation from the background of a beach scene during post-production, costing approximately $15,000. The military restrictions forced creative compromises throughout the series, with writers occasionally rewriting scenes to accommodate filming limitations imposed by Hawaii's massive military presence. Number 3. Weather delays cost more than mechanical failures. Weather-related filming delays cost the production more money than all mechanical problems combined. Hawaii's tropical weather was unpredictable and frequently unsuitable for helicopter filming. Heavy rain, strong winds, and poor visibility grounded helicopters regularly. The Hughes 500 couldn't safely fly in winds exceeding 25 knots or visibility below 3 miles. These conditions occurred frequently in Hawaii's microclimates. A location might have perfect weather while filming areas 2 miles away were experiencing heavy rain. The production maintained a meteorologist on staff who provided hourly weather updates and forecasts. Despite professional weather monitoring, sudden storms frequently interrupted filming. When weather grounded helicopters, the entire production would shift to interior or ground-based scenes. This required maintaining backup scenes ready to film at any moment. Over 8 seasons, weather delays totaled approximately 180 days of lost helicopter filming. Each lost day cost roughly $30,000 in idle crew, equipment rental, and rescheduling expenses. Total weather-related costs exceeded $5 million across the series run. By comparison, mechanical failures caused approximately 20 days of delays, costing roughly $600,000 total. Weather was 4 times more expensive than mechanical problems. The production learned to schedule helicopter-dependent scenes during Hawaii's dry season, when weather was more predictable and reliable. Number 2. The final episode featured all 4 helicopters simultaneously. The Magnum P.I. series finale featured all 4 production Hughes 500 helicopters flying in formation, the only time all aircraft appeared together on screen. The sequence required extraordinary coordination and planning. Flying 4 helicopters in close formation is inherently dangerous. The rotor wash from one helicopter affects others, creating turbulence and control difficulties. Professional formation flying requires extensive training and practice. The production hired military formation pilots experienced in multi-aircraft operations. These pilots spent 2 weeks practicing the formation sequence before cameras rolled. The formation flight required special FAA approval beyond normal filming waivers. The risk of mid-air collision was significant enough that the FAA initially denied permission. After extensive safety briefings and demonstrated proficiency, approval was granted with strict altitude and spacing requirements. The actual formation sequence lasted approximately 45 seconds on screen, but required 3 days of filming to capture safely. Multiple takes were needed to achieve desired camera angles while maintaining safe separation. The formation flight cost approximately $80,000 in pilot fees, insurance, fuel, and coordination. However, the dramatic visual of 4 Island Hoppers helicopters flying together provided a spectacular finale to the series, marking the end of an era for one of television's most iconic aircraft. Number 1. The hero helicopter still flies, today in original paint. The primary Hughes 500 November 7318 Hotel remains airworthy and occasionally flies in its original Island Hoppers paint scheme. After decades of ownership changes and extensive restoration, the hero helicopter returned to flying status in 2015. The current owner, a television memorabilia collector, spent 3 years and approximately $600,000 restoring the aircraft to original condition. The restoration included complete engine overhaul, new rotor systems, updated avionics meeting current FAA requirements, and meticulous paint matching to replicate the exact 1980s Island Hoppers scheme. Authenticating original paint colors required consulting production photographs and interviewing surviving crew members. The restored helicopter made its public debut at a Magnum P.I. reunion event in Honolulu in 2016. Roger E. Mosley attended and sat in the pilot's seat he had occupied decades earlier. The helicopter now appears occasionally at air shows and television anniversary celebrations. It's maintained in flying condition and regularly exercised to prevent deterioration. The FAA requires all aircraft to fly periodically to maintain airworthiness certification. The Hero helicopter has logged approximately 120 flight hours since restoration, a tiny fraction of the 1,200 hours it logged during the series. Its continued airworthiness ensures that TC's island hoppers will continue flying for future generations. The Hughes 500 transcended its role as transportation to become Magnum P.I.'s silent co-star. From turtle season blackouts to million-dollar auctions, every flight hour carried the weight of 80s television history. The helicopter that soared over Hawaiian beaches proved that sometimes the ride matters as much as the destination.